أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Today is a special podcast on the demise and the shahadat of and wafat of Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha, an entity in the family of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, the mother of Muslimin, the mother of Mu'mineen, Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha. In one way we could say that she has been an oppressed lady at her life, and she remains oppressed till today. For there are ways of identifying a person. For example, in the same Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha can be known as the daughter of some, then the wife of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, then the mother of Bibi Fatimatul Zahra salamullahi alayha, then the sas and mother-in-law of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and grandmother of Hassanin, and great-grandmother of the whole lineage of Hussein alayhi salam, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. But how much do we know about her, and why is she oppressed? Hazrat Khadija alayhi salam is a great lady of Islam and one of the most distinguished women in all of history, who held a special place in the eyes of Prophet of Islam due to her unparalleled status and merit. Since the lineage of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam traces back to such a noble lady, they took a great pride in it. But guess what? It's Ahlul Bayt alayhis salam we are talking about. Peace be upon them. So wherever we have Hubbu Ahlul Bayt, the lovers of Ahlul Bayt, we have the enemies of Ahlul Bayt as well. However, the enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam sought to tarnish this pure image of Hazrat Zahra. One of the crimes of hypocrites in their attempt to obscure the truth was the distortion of the history of the life of Ummul Mu'mineen, Hazrat Khadija alayha salam. These distortions were carried out so skillfully that at first glance, wherever we hear, we might even believe them as truth and submit to them. However, if one examines with them with insight and in light of established beliefs of the true faith, the lies and hypocrisy woven into every line become evident, and the truth is distinguished from falsehood, and guidance is separated from misguidance. The lineage or their lineage to Hazrat Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, and also Amirul Mu'mineen and the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet of Islam is considered the first and most important reason for this change in her character done by these mushriks and munafiqs, because this lineage actually honors the Imam. This lineage is honors of the Imams and has been source of pride for them against their enemies, to the extent that in the boasts of Ahlul Bayt against their enemies, one of the points of pride was having a mother like Hazrat Khadija al-Kubra alayha salam. However, in the contrast, what has always been the source of disgrace and shame For the enemies is their lowly lineage and their connection to the mothers who are sinful and impure. The example is Hind, the mother of Muawiyah, was one of the famous bed lady of her time due to her relationship with many Qurayshis and non-Qurayshis as recorded in history. Similarly, Sahak, the grandmother of one of the followers of Prophet, was also of such a nature to the extent that we see in some of the disputes people had with him, to shame and disgrace him, they would refer to his lowly lineage and call him Ya Ibn al-Sahak al-Habashiyah, O son of Ethiopian Sahak. Of course, this was not a hidden case or matter, but even the usurpers themselves have admitted to it in some cases, as in Ibn Abil Hadid writes in his commentary on Nahjul Balagha. So when you have a rough family, a family from non-noble background, and you want to help or want to try to bring Islam into misguidance, or want to lead Islam into misguidance, where you stand in a position of issues and against you they are standing people of humility, noblehood, purity, and everybody with the right set of mind know that when there is pure against impure, you will always choose pure to follow and not impure. And this is the same thing that happened here. Because they couldn't go against the purity of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they started defaming the character of Hazrat Khadija alayhas salam directly or indirectly. The third reason for the distortion of the life of Ummul Mu'mineen Khadija alayhas salam lies in the boundless love of the Holy Prophet of Islam for her, a love that even years after the death made life difficult for envious women that were Prophet's wives after Bibi Khadija passed away. And according to some narrations, the Prophet had not married, according to all narrations actually, the Prophet had not married anyone else apart from Bibi Khadija as long as she was alive. And after she passed away, she married another lady again that was alone. And then after that, after Hijrah, the shifting, the migration, then he married some of the women from the companions of the prophets, to the extent where some of the women were envious that they did not, in their narrations in the books that they have, they did not envy any of the wives of Rasulullah as much as they envied Hazrat Khadija alayha salam, even though they had not seen her. You see, when some of the wives envy a wife of the Holy Prophet that is not alive, what is the limit of damaging her character at that time and now? So now if we place that boundless love alongside this limitless envy, the third reason for distortion becomes clear. Additionally, the forgetting of the name and memory of Hazrat Khadija alayha salam by any means made it easier for them to dominate the position of the mother of believers. And the absence of mention and memory of this noble lady among the Muslims prepared a better ground for the growth of those ladies who are not as in status to Hazrat Khadija, to give false narrations and interpretations and twist the religion of Allah in favor of usurpers and create a great veil between Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and the people, preventing the people from accessing them. So these are the 4 reasons among the most important causes of the hypocrites' interference in the history of the mother of believers, Ummul Mu'mineen Khadija alayha salam, because all the expectations they had from the entry of Aisha, Hafsa into the house of the Prophet, peace be upon him, they too are Ummul Mu'mineen, for no one could marry them, and other reasons, attracting the Prophet's affection towards them, continuing his lineage through them to achieve their sinister goals, were not only unfulfilled, but in their failure they found it manifested in a personality like Khadijatul Kubra alayha salam, Khadija, who was not only a devoted wife to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and a proud mother to his Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, but also spiritually distinguished to the extent that the Prophet of Islam counted her among one of the 4 chosen women of MashaAllah. These are the moments where we realize that how much we know about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and their surroundings. This is the position that is not guaranteed merely by being the wife of the Prophet, but rather indicates her own capability and merit for attaining it. The most important evidence that we have to prove this claim is the Book of Allah, in which the wives of Lut and Nuh alayhi salam are counted amongst the transgressors and betrayers. But Asiya, who is the wife of MashaAllah Fir'aun, and the caretaker and a mother that took care of one of the prophets, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, is called amongst the righteous. Thus, the unattainable position of Ummul Mu'mineen was not achieved merely by being the wife of the Prophet, so that other women could also consider themselves equal to her in the eyes of common people. Therefore, when the usurpers realized that it was impossible for the other wives of the Prophet to become like Khadija, if you are smart, they say that if you want to do something, or like we have in this world, if a police wants to catch a thief, a killer, a bad person, he doesn't have to be a bad person. What does he have to do? He has to think like a bad person. He has to think like a thief. He has to think like a murderer, so that he is able to get closer to the evidence. So here, when they tried to see that none of the wives could become like Khadija alayha salam, they tried to, what would they try to do? Either bring their status to her level or lower her status to that of common man or common woman. So they tried to do that, so that she would no longer have a place among them. And in contrast, they fabricated virtues and merits for themselves to create a place for themselves in the hearts of the people and achieve their goals with this support. What would they do? Today, ask the Ummah, whom did the Prophet love amongst his wives? And it is not in shock that they would say he would love Aisha alayha salam, and a lot of narrations would come in their books that they would say Hazrat Aisha would climb on the Prophet's shoulders to see something, or some of the narrations that doesn't accept with logic, that doesn't accept with our mind. Some of the things that when a couple have as a couple, it's a sanctity, a sanctuary for both. And most of the narrations that we see in the books of our brothers, that sanctity wouldn't be there, that even the Prophet would come and say that whatever happens in our lives, do not mention it to others. The people that have ghuyur and ghurur and izzah of themselves and their wives, they would not talk about their home life with others. But some of the wives would come out and bring that. And weird is when these hadiths or narrations would be permissible to be called as sahih as well. So, of course, this was not the first time that the hypocrites resorted to such sinister plans to achieve their goals, but before that, to justify their actions in the field of caliphate and to cover up the grave mistakes which stemmed upon their ignorance of the basic issues of religion. They attacked the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and reduced him in the eyes of common people to the level of an ordinary man. God forbid, had grave mistakes and corrupt desires. It's what we would say today, a kind of a domino effect, where you arrange those domino blocks that kids play Jenga, there's a name for it, or house of cards. You see, the house of cards is perfect, but then someone wants that the house of cards have to have special numbers, all of them, and he realized, no, there's not a special numbers. I need to remove this card from here and put it there and that card over here. The moment you remove this one card, the whole house falls down. Now come and repair that. So this happens during the time of the Prophet's passing and his passing, where they start disgracing some of the members of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and afterwards you will also realize, because they want to fabricate some of the fadail of the Prophet, bringing him to become a common man, and some of the fadail they want to add to the wives of the Prophet, then say this, this is not enough. So you want to clear, they say, when you add one lie, you have to bring more lies to support that one lie. So they see the actions of some of the wives of the prophets. They say these actions are not good for an adult woman. What do? They come and they reduce the age of the wife of the Prophet from 17 to 19 according to their own books, with scientific and calculative narrations, and they show the age to become 6 to 9. Where now, because of reducing this age, this is just an example, you reduce the wife's age from 17, 19 to 6. Now come and make it okay to say that the Prophet married a child. So now here they don't see that the Prophet has been diminished of his character. It's weird when we talk to Muslims, they all deny generally that the Prophet is not Masoom, right? But talk about a companion. They say it is forbidden to talk about companions and they do takfir on you. But when it comes to the verses like Abasa wa Tawalla, where we have narrations that the person who frowned was not the Prophet, they explicitly come and say that it was the Prophet that frowned. They don't even defend the Prophet or find a reason to defend the Prophet. They say, no, the Prophet did it. Now come say what the wives did, what the companions did. No, that's a red line. If we want, as long as we don't learn history, we will not understand the lives of Ahlul Bayt in its best form. So read more about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, about Bibi Khadija alayhi salam, read about the different wives of the prophets as well. Reading history is good. It gives you a perspective in your own progress. So, for example, they fabricated a narration like the one mentioning about paradise, women of paradise, and then they quoted saying that Aisha was the best of women of the world. You see? So you relieve the 4 women of paradise, now you say the woman of the world. When the Prophet came to this world, his whole message and all guidance was not to survive in this world, was the betterment for ourselves in the hereafter. So traditions like this, that someone was best women of the world, or man kuntu maulahu fahada aliyun maula, where the brothers say that no, there is a narration of another companion, or ana madinatul ilmu wa aliyu babuha, I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the door of knowledge. Now this is not good because it's only Ali and Muhammad. Now come and create something better. So we have the city of knowledge, we have the door, but we don't have the window. A house has to have a window, so bring the window, add a companion. Bring a bati, the bati that we normally keep at home, bring that, and bring other places of the wall of the knowledge. Then afterwards you come, okay, why did the Prophet need to add like Ana Madinatul Ilm Aliyu Babuha and the windows and other things are there? But whenever you want to go to the city or any house, where do you enter from? Some of the companions were very serious in what they got, like being the city of knowledge and the door and the window and the sakafu and the bati of the knowledge. They became very serious that I have a narration where one of the companions, when passing by, when I talk about companions, I'm not talking about good companions only, right? This companion was very serious that he realized someone in his house is drinking. This guy took the narration very seriously. I'm becoming sarcastic, that he actually entered the house through the window. You see, and tells them, you know what you did was a sin, you have to be punished. The drunkard is telling this companion, I have sinned but in my house, but what you have done is more than what I did, for you have entered the house away from the main place, which is the door, and you entered it from the window. So when you have traditions that someone is a window, someone is a sakafo, so it is good. But then when you go and bring it into reality and actually enter the house of someone through the window, then you are making fun of yourself. I don't know, people did not realize this. The hypocrites interfered in the life of the mother of believer Hazrat Khadija alayhi salam, changed it as they wished and introduced her to the Muslims in a way that suited their interests as much as they could. They removed her virtues and merits or attributed them to others to diminish her brilliance in the eyes of the common people and turn people towards others. The result of this action was the introduction of numerous distortions in the history of our life. It should be noted that these actions had a very significant consequences in the early history of Islam. the dissemination, narration, and recording of narrations of the Prophet of Islam from another side opened the way for fabrication and distortion in all matters related to religion, to the extent that it was enough for a minor issue of religion or small part of Islamic belief to have the slightest harm to the ruling apparatus of the caliphs and their followers, for it to be completely removed or manipulated so that it would lose its effectiveness. This process was pursued so intensely that Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of second caliph if I am not mistaken, admitted that after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even prayer was not safe from distortion. And we have a narration where the esteemed Sunni scholars today, they narrate this narration that when Ali became the caliph and when Ali was reciting namaz, leading the Jamaat prayers, companions would say that today Ali reminded us of the prayers prayed and led by the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of the changes that they saw after the Prophet to Imam Ali, yani the first caliph, second caliph, third caliph, was not only on changes of, for example, Taraweeh and Mut'ah and these things. One of them was that after every part of Salah, we would say Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih, Allahu Akbar. The Allahu Akbar that we would do, the raising of the hand between the content of namaz, this is not there anymore. In such conditions, the hypocrites distorted the life of the mothers of believers, the mother of believers, Khadija alayhi salam, and it is clear what destructive results their actions could have had in these conditions. With these actions, they succeeded in making all Muslims in all ages believe that firstly, Khadija al-Kubra was not the most beloved of the wives of the Prophet alayhi salam, because she was a widow and had a significant age difference with the Prophet. Now, what I have stated here is mostly in regards to her operation that happened with her after she passed away. Let's see about what proactiveness she had during her life. What kind of a woman was she? She was living in a time where male character domination was at peak, I would say. Women did not have such rights. I'm talking about her youth, her total life in general. But it is very much better than the concept of feminism today, because feminism destroys family. But Bibi Khadija, living in those circumstances, showed that when you want to rise, it's your effort and hard work that can help you to rise. And one of her titles was Malikatul Arab. Now, who will call her Queen of the Arabs or Princess of the Arabs? Who would call her? Other women? No. When someone has a kind of respect in a community, the community gives him or her a title, is the title that's accepted among the members of the community. So she was able to show in a male dominant area that a woman can fight for her right and achieve and reach certain position by standing with the framework. And she was. Then Prophet came in. Prophet showed his character by becoming as-Sadiqul Amin, and we have Hazrat Fatima alayhi salam, Of the things that Bibi Khadija used to do was, today we have some community members that are female and that are well in doing in community. Bibi Khadija is an example for you, helping relatives, not only close relatives. You have relatives that cannot get married, get them married. You have a lot of instances of helping out your family member, help them. It's not just kind of doing. Today we have rich people, male, female, and most of them are philanthropists. They help out. This is how we need to live our life, helping each other, helping community members, go outside the community, portray the sunnah of Amirul Mu'mineen in the month of Ramadan. Of the things you could do, I have a lot of ideas, but it takes hard work to do. Beba gunia kilo tano, send it to your neighbor, gonga mlango and go away, so that when they come they see, they don't know who brought it. Be closer to orphans. These are the things that we need to do. Of the operation that happened on Bibi Khadija was today, when I went to a working place, and when I was asked, because I'm wearing a black content, black shirt, black kanzu, and one of the co-worker in that workplace asked me, Suhail, why are you wearing black today? It's not Karbala. Like, they have a tendency of calling Karbala because that's famous for us. What they meant is Ashura, Muharram. So it's not Karbala. So why did you wear it? So I told them that we have a day of demise in the Prophet's family. It is the demise of the first wife of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha, and that's why we are commemorating this day. So this black is our identity. There are tabligh that zakirs can do, there are tabligh that scholars can do, there are tabligh that ulama can do, and there is a tabligh that a common man can do. And our tabligh is this black cloth. This black cloth is already tied to us. You see? So whenever there is a wafat, a shahadat, please, as long as you can, this is your ID. This is your identity. So come out with this and let people ask. And tell them. You don't have to tell them in a disrespectful manner. Tell them that today is our day where a member of the Holy Prophet's household was martyred, passed away, and we remember till today. You see? So please read the history of the Prophet, read the history of their wives, and see every wife had a special character. Bibi Khadija was the first of the wives of the Holy Prophet, the mother of Bibi Fatima, Ummul A'imma. You see? Then we have different wives that you can read upon them. Reading history is not a bad thing, even if it is in regards to someone that we deem is not a good companion. Read about them. Read about them. It will help us a lot in understanding the concepts that Prophet faced during his lifetime, and after him the Aimma alayhim salam faced during their lifetime. May Allah accept this special podcast on behalf of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, on remembering the lady of Light, the mother of Aimma, Mu'mineen, Khadija alayha salam. And we end this by reciting Surah Fatiha for Kul Mu'mineen wal Mu'minat and Marhum and Marhumeens and Marhuminat. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.